Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. The show where, just like you, we can't get enough sports.
The 47-year wait is over! And the Nuggets win it! Wilson throwing, it's up for grabs, and it's caught for the touchdown! And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50. And the Avalanche are 2022 Stanley Cup champions! And a shot into the back of the net for Diego Rubio!
Now here's your hosts, Arthur Knight and Larry Perkins.
1-0 Rapids. They are champions.
Yo, welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. I am Arthur Knight, and with me is Larry Perkins.
Yes.
I am always on a hot mic, Larry Perkins.
Yes, we was just discussing how it would be for me to be under the influence.
Oh my God. Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. We are live coming from So High Cafe at 4300 West Alameda here in Denver, Colorado. Come on by, get you some Viper Pit barbecue. Tell Vinny the Sportz Phenz sent you. Get you some ribs, get you some burnt ends. The brisket is always fire. And don't forget the homemade mac and cheese. Come on by 4300 West Alameda, So High Cafe, featuring Viper Pit Barbecue. You can find him on Facebook and all of your social media outlets, but especially on IG at So High Cafe. All right, my guy. There's been a lot going on this week.
Sure.
But you had a couple of, we're going to start off the show today, ladies and gentlemen, with what were you thinking? So Larry's got some beefs that he wants to ventilate about. So we're going to let him vent a little bit.
First of all, I want to say, my headache is subsiding. So I want to.
Your head is what?
My headache is subsiding.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I had a headache.
All right.
I'm
sorry to hear that.
Dang, thanks for caring. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm sorry.
you're supposed to say, "Oh, really?"
I didn't know I was supposed to be all nurturing and stuff, man. I'm sorry. I hope you feel better.
I was wondering, what caused this? Still something I can do for you, buddy. Dang.
No, I don't care.
Damn, niggas fan. Anyway, well, my little bitter grief is going to go towards the National Basketball Association for announcing the All-Star game changing. I'm a, an old school guy, and I kind of like, a little tweaks here and there, but I think that's too major of a, overhaul.
Well, tell the people what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
I was telling about the All-Star, the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, but what are they planning on doing?
Well, the thing is they're going to a tournament. It's going to be 4 teams. It's going to be 3 teams, 8-man roster, and I guess the Shooting Stars. I guess the Rising Stars. The Rising Star. Mm-hmm. It's going to be that 4th team, the winner of that, and they're just going to battle it out. I guess. Well, it's going to be a cup, an All-Star Cup. I don't. What I'm saying? It's
Larry
ridiculous.
thinks there's too many tournaments within the season now. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. I don't know. I just wanted.
So what's your beef with this one? I already know what your beef is with the in-season tournament, even though your team is the one and you were really happy about them winning last year's. That team was really happy about winning that championship last year. So much so that they fell to the play-in, but I digress.
I like how you got around to that, but
I always take my time to find a way to make a dig at the Lakers, my guy. Like
exactly.
that'll always be, or the Raiders.
Exactly. I'm like, take a number. How many people dig on my team. But
we're gonna talk about how your Raiders got mollywopped today by the. It wasn't as bad as my Broncos did last year when they dropped a 70 burger on us, but it was pretty bad.
But playing poor football to the Miami Dolphins, they can score. So, but anyway,
yeah, good offense.
But like I was saying, I could have thought of other avenues, other ways that they can try to improve.
Like what? Lay it on us.
I was
because
thinking
we all
more-
know it's monetary, and the NBA has been
Exactly.
losing visual. Like people wanting to watch the NBA All-Star game. Especially, I didn't like it when they went to the format of, you get to pick your team. Like LeBron James got to pick his team, and then somebody else got to pick their team, and I didn't like that at all. So I'm glad that they kind of went away with that. Because it wasn't like the East versus no. It needs to be East versus West. Like you said, I'm not necessarily a traditionalist. Like, I like the fact that there's going to be they're trying to tweak things to get more visual or
Yes, I understand.
viewers onto the All-Star game. I'm not even going to say that I'm an advocate for them doing, this tournament.
Well, the thing is, baby steps. You know what I'm saying? Just wait this end season.
Well, what would you change? What would you change in order to get more viewership on the NBA All-Star game?
I would go international, since that's what they're trying to do for us, all these tourneys. I would have a selection of the best international, players, and put them on the squad and put them against the American, and have an all-star game of, foreign born.
With all due respect, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life.
Really?
Yes. No, we're not doing that.
Why?
Because that's dumb as hell. Why would we? That's the same thing as LeBron being able to pick his team and all of that. Like,
I had no problem
How
with
is that
that.
going to be? How is that going to be entertaining at all?
It's different. Okay, it's entertaining. I would love to
It's
see
entertaining for
Joker
who?
and Luca and all the guys go against American born.
So would Knock Knees play for that team, or would he play for the international team?
Who's knock knees?
My guy Embiid. Is there something wrong with that dude's knees, man? I'm just saying he's got bad knees.
I would have him on a foreign born team.
Yeah, but would it be his choice? Who chooses whether they're playing for the American side? Like Jamal Murray would have to play for the foreign team because he's from Canada.
Right.
There's a lot more foreign players in the league than
exactly. They the person, the actual individual, you could actually like.
Who would choose though? Who would be in the 12-man rotation? Is this a fan? Is this still
Just
the fans vote?
Fans. Just how it usually be for the.
I can already tell that you didn't think this plan all the way through.
No, actually, it would be perfect. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I don't think you thought this all the way through, my guy.
it'll be perfect.
I don't know.
Just-
Perfect might be a little strong of a word.
I didn't
Okay.
come.
Okay. Let's. There's an or. There's an or.
Or,
R?
depending what hood you're from.
Are you a pirate? What are we doing here? R. What are you doing? Do you need a patch over one eye, my nigga? Come on, man. What are you doing to me here? Anyway.
All right, listen. We got a comedian today. Anyway.
Today, every day.
Every day.
Every day. See, I've heard that before, but or.
You just do not give love to all this. You just don't. You just do not want a person to just flow freely.
Larry Perkins, the pirate.
No, I'm not a pirate.
You are a pirate.
Do not give me any pirate.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard him. He's a pirate.
No pirate.
This dude's got a peg leg and a parrot.
Whatever, bro.
All right, my guy.
Okay, anyway.
Back on subject. My bad. I derailed you. My bad.
You're killing me here, guy. You know what I'm saying? Or I was thinking about,
R. I can't help it, man. You just every time you say it, just move on. Quit saying or. Just R.
That's how I say R, bro.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know,
My
I've been
bad.
saying this. That's totally.
Okay. All right. My bad.
Okay.
I keep getting distracted by your R.
You're gonna make this a bit, aren't you?
So I have to clip it for a drop for show.
I want that on TikTok. Anyway, Anyway, I
So-
also was thinking about a veteran team, like
Okay.
a retired. You know how it was back in the '80s. It was a retired.
So you want Magic Johnson and all of them to come back? And
not that far.
so you want
not
the
that,
geriatrics?
Not that far
All-Star
ago.
game?
Probably about 5 to 7 years retired. That probably can,
Okay, so
they-
like Kevin Garnett.
right.
Okay.
Kenyon Martin.
Okay, well
You
that's
know-
still a little more than 7 years.
Oh, I mean, we have to bust out the book. to
So
see
within
how-
10 years? Within 10
within
years?
10 years,
Okay.
if they keep their body up, what
Okay,
I'm saying?
I doubt Kenyon Martin has kept his body up, but I mean, I don't know.
I'm just trying to help the game.
So you talking
know
about
what I'm
like
saying?
AI? AI? Is
Well,
that too
I
far
don't-
back?
Yeah, well, you've seen him now. I mean, yeah, I could, but he's gone. But
I'm just saying, man.
I'm thinking like
Would
Tim
LeBron
Duncan,
James still be on that
Tim
team?
Duncan,
Which team would LeBron be? Because he's still an active player. Would
he's
he
still
be?
he's not. He's not
He's not going to be on the geriatrics team?
No, he would not be on.
What would we call that team?
Old versus new. I don't know.
We call that the
But they did But the thing is, they did have
the Gold Bomb team.
They had a I forgot what they called it. It was a veteran type, all-star game.
Mm-hmm.
It was two retired, sides playing against each other. But I just want to go back to something old, I mean, not as far like the Harlem Globetrotters old, you know what I'm saying? But, I'm just trying to think of ways to make to grow the game, which the NBA wants to do. I'm kind of on board with the Emirates Cup, in the long run, but just
Is that what we're calling it now?
that's what they call it now. It's the Emirates Cup.
Oh, okay.
Not the mid-season cup. So just too many changes at once. That's my whole big deal. That's my whole big deal.
Okay, so you completely disagree with them doing a tournament.
Not now.
So I read
it's
this
just been-
article. I don't see how they would create those teams though.
I mean, you talking about me. I mean, did they really think it through?
No, it seems pretty half-baked on their part too.
Exactly.
I, for one, just want to go back to, just me personally, I just want to go back to the fans voting for the All-Star, and it's East versus West. And that's it. Just keep it simple. I just want to I want to stick to the KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid. There's no reason to tweak or twist or change what has been working. And when they started doing the change, that's when the viewership started dropping. They just need to go back to the old bread and butter, man. Let the fans pick the players. LeBron will probably be in the All-Star as long as he's in the game, as long as he's playing. He'll be in the All-Star. And it is a popularity contest. But that's I think the reason why you've lost viewership, NBA, is because of the fact that you've kind of taken it away from the viewers. You've put it in the hands of the NBA and took it out of the hands of the viewers, and that's what's taken away your viewership. Nobody wants to watch the product that you've been putting out for the All-Star game, and I'm not sure this is the answer either. Unfortunately, I tell my daughters all the time, you never want to shoot down an idea without having a better idea. But my better idea is you go back to the bread and butter. You just go back to what you originally had for decades, that worked, that I grew up watching for decades, and it was fun to watch the best players from the East and the West, play. Did it get to a point a little bit boring because it was just all scoring? Nobody played defense. It wasn't really a game. Yeah, I would say that. Here's an idea. Let's say you make it monetary for the players. You give them an incentive to play hard and win the game. Let's say the team, whether it's East or West, the team that wins, each player gets X amount of dollars. Let's say $250,000 for winning the tournament, $500,000.
But that's what they're doing right now with the Emirates Cup. That's why I'm just saying maybe they should just hold off a little bit and just let this play out. and see, and then they can, do their little tournament like 4 or 5 years down the road.
No. I'm not talking about a tournament. I'm talking about you go back to your original format of East versus West. And the fans pick the players, and then whoever wins the game, though that team gets X amount of dollars each player. Let's say it's $250K. I don't care what the monetary value is. You just have to make it monetarily incentivized for these players to actually play the game. Not just as an all-star game. We're just going to play relaxed and play some Harlem Globetrotters style basketball. They're going to actually play the game to win, and coaches will coach it to win, because even the coaches would be incentivized. Let's say the coaches also get a payday, because the coaches get chosen as well from the fans. Who's going to be the coach to do the East or the West. If the fans choose all of the above, whether it's the coaches,
the coaches get chosen by the conference. The conference.
Well, let's say this. So we go back to the original format, right?
Right.
And then the players, active players in the league, not two-way. You have to be signed to a contract. They vote on the coaches, and then the players get voted on by the fans. And then whoever wins, whether it's the West or the East, the players and the coaches on that get some sort of monetary value to that. The players get $250K, the coaches get $150K or something to that. Just something to that effect.
Well,
that would incentivize each player and the coaches to actually coach a normal game, as opposed to, it just being a pickup game or a pickup game Harlem Globetrotter style.
It would work based on last year, seeing the cup, the little end season, because that's what they're incentivizing them with financial, and them guys was playing their butts off, they was playing hard. So I really feel that, a little monetary, it'll work. I agree with you. It'll work.
Well, speaking of butts, Mike Tyson showed his whole ass the other day, literally. Vinny's over here cracking up. He literally did show his whole ass to the nation. That's Mike Tyson. If you grew up with Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson is not all there. What a crazy fight. But just staying on the what were you thinking Netflix.
Was it rigged?
What were you? I don't know if it was rigged, man.
I canceled my Netflix, man.
You cancel your Netflix?
It was because he wasn't supposed to knock him out.
I'm so mad.
That was the whole thing. He wasn't supposed to knock him out.
Knock out Tyson?
No, he wasn't supposed to knock out Jake Paul.
Why wasn't he supposed to knock out?
He wasn't going to get paid if he knocked him out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because there's a couple shots where you can see old school Mike Tyson would have just come in blasting with uppers.
Yep.
And he had like 3 or 4 shots to do that same move. And he was told, you're not getting the mills if you knock the kid out.
I was thinking the same thing, Vinny.
Yeah, but where's that in the contract? I just want to know, because none of that has been reported.
Handshake.
Yeah, it was a gentleman's.
Huh. All right. Because it could also be that Mike Tyson is 58 years old and just I'm leaning more towards why Jake.
Was last night.
And you basically ripped off your entire
Friday
audience.
Night.
Not to mention, it crashed Netflix, and I know Netflix has been saying, "Oh, it's your providers, and it's like, no. I personally could not even get movies to play during that fight. All of their servers, whatever was going down, they crashed, and it was terrible. It was hard to watch. It was pixelated. It was kind of like I liken it to, you ever play that game Mike Tyson's Punch-Out back in the day on Nintendo? It was kind of like, well, I don't care. I'm proud to be as old as I am.
Pac-Man.
But the fact of the matter is, it was like watching that game. It was so pixelated, and so like every match, and the undercard was underwhelming. I mean, to a certain extent, the women's one was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. But the rest of the undercard was pretty underwhelming. It just, I feel like we got ripped off.
Duped.
You've been bamboozled. You've been had.
I mean, that's what I was saying.
Mike could have done it in 3 rounds.
Probably.
But I think he was also afraid of his reach compared to Jake Paul's and didn't want to get suckered.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, especially in that third round, I mean, Jake Paul, he was down, and Mike Tyson.
He knows
that old Mike Tyson
would have came in.
Yeah,
Mike Tyson. The old Mike Tyson would have knocked Jake Paul out within the first 30 seconds of the first round.
I don't know.
The old Mike Tyson in his prime.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In his prime, he'd have knocked him smooth the F out.
Yeah,
within 2 rounds.
I think it was a
2 rounds at most. The fact that it was 2-minute rounds as opposed to 3-minute rounds. I mean, it was just, you've been had.
Well,
you've been bamboozled.
I mean, at 27,
just say it.
I mean, at 27, your heart rate after 2 minutes is going to sustain. At 58, at 2 minutes, that extra minute is going to be like, I'm going to have a fucking heart attack.
I'm going to die in the ring right now.
Right now, yeah.
Like, as he was turning around, I love Mike Tyson. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge, huge, huge Mike Tyson fan in the ring, not the person in the ring.
Okay.
I'm a huge of his style of boxing, but minus the biting of the ear and gloves, and I don't know what he was doing the other day, and but the bottom line is that when the 2 minutes were up, he did seem wobbly, like he would flop into the chair, and it's not like he's not in shape. And as we were going into it, I was saying that he still got it. He still got it. And then as I was watching, I was like, ooh, he is almost 60.
There, you watch those training videos, and he wouldn't be flopping in the chair. He flopped in the chair because he was pissed because he couldn't take the kid out.
I don't know, man.
A little both.
There's a lot of conspiracy around this whole fight. It was a money grab all the way around. Boxing has become that, to be honest with you. It's always a money grab. I would like to see Mike Tyson, fight somebody his own age. Like, if it was him and Evander Holyfield, I'd like to see that 2 minutes. But that would only be 4 rounds. Let's do that in 4 rounds, because both them brothers gonna have a heart attack if you go more than even at 2-minute rounds. You gonna have some problems. This is gonna be trouble.
Well, I just feel bamboozled.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just watching the clips of him training. It's like, man, he was giving me hope. Right. We're about the same age. He
didn't do anything like he did with the training.
Nothing.
Zero.
Which makes me kind of believe what you're saying there, Vinny, about him not being able to knock him out. Like, this is just and maybe Mike Tyson does need the money, but I don't know, man. He's got his own weed line. He's got his own.
Yeah, he's got merch.
He's got all kinds of stuff. So I'm not sure it's a money grab either. I don't know. I just know what I saw the other night was not good. It was not entertaining. I'm just glad I already pay for Netflix, so I didn't have to pay anything extra, because if I had paid pay-per-view money for that fight, I'd be pissed right now. Yeah. I'd be pissed. And I'm not even trying to be like passive. Like, I'd be literally calling, trying to get my money back, because that was not worth paying for. So I'll pay my $17.99 or $19.99 for Netflix, and nobody was able to watch movies or anything during that entire time. And so Netflix, what were you thinking?
Refund.
They keep trying to do refund. What? You pay a monthly subscription. That's what's been cracking me up on social media about people like, oh, you need to cancel Netflix, and I need a refund. A refund of what? A refund of what?
A refund of my eyes.
You were gonna pay that $17.
I want a rewatch.
But you don't want to rewatch. What are you talking about, man? You would have paid that $17 to $19 regardless if that was live or not. I just think Netflix got a little too big for their britches. They did that Chris Rock live event that went really, really well. They've done quite a few other live events, and those went really, really well. But a live boxing event with one of the most famous boxers known to man, a living legend, fighting at a way past his prime, but looks in practice like he's still in his prime, that was gonna get some eyeballs on that television. And I honestly do not think that Netflix was ready. I mean, clearly they weren't ready. There was a time where I was just trying to get onto Netflix, and it was just a red circle of death and a black screen. And that's it. I couldn't even get onto my Netflix to check the fight and see who's winning and whatnot. It was ridiculous.
Mark and Bonnie were both here too, and they both had the same problem.
Yeah. And don't tell me it was my server or my service, because, you know, I was probably on the best Wi-Fi you could possibly be on through Amazon. And like, I'm telling you right now, it was not the internet. It was Netflix was not prepared for the amount of viewers worldwide that they were going to get, and their stuff started crashing, and they have to find a scapegoat in order to figure out, because what are you going to get refunded, people? Like, all of these people are so upset, and they're like, oh, I want my money back, and I'm like, I'm going to cancel my Netflix.
So you won't be able to watch the Christmas football games.
Right. I'm going to cancel my Netflix. Dude, this cancel culture, man. I don't want to get political, but everybody wanting to always cancel just so quickly. It's just so funny.
Hell yeah.
Was it not worth watching? Really, the only people,
the girls,
the people that lost the most was Netflix. They lost the most, right? Because now they will never be able to do another event like this. Do you think that UFC is going to do a live event on Netflix after this? No way. So they're the ones that really lost out on the future money. So your $17 that you canceled Netflix on is not going to hurt. I mean, that's probably going to hurt them too. But I just don't understand where the sentiment is coming from on, you know, I want a refund for the fight. That just cracks me up. Like,
I agree with you, Vinny. It was rigged.
It was rigged. It might have been, but y'all watched. Everybody tuned in.
That's probably why we want refunds and mad and stuff. Because
what are you gonna get refund? You still haven't answered my question.
At the very beginning, they said that Mike was on a rider not to knock him out.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me, because Mike did slap the crap out of him in weigh-in. So it's just funny. It's funny.
That was sort of weak too, though.
Well, yeah, it was fast though. It was so fast. It was so fast. I was like, man, he still got it. He still got it, man. He better watch them hands. But then when I watched the fight, it was like, nah, he did more biting his glove than he did actually landing punches. And I don't know if he did that just to refrain from biting off my guy's ear, or if I know he has a biting issue, I guess. He's admitted that he has a issue with biting. So clearly, biting his boxing glove, which looked really, really weird live, was his way of keeping himself from taking a chunk out of Jake Paul.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not watching no kind of. Yeah.
Jake Paul would have needed Jake from State Farm. He needed insurance on his ears, man. He should have gotten insurance on his ears going into that fight, bro. Yeah. That's pretty funny. The whole situation is funny. I don't, want to take away from the fact that Mike Tyson did go 8 rounds, even if they were 2-minute rounds at almost 60 years old. That is an amazing feat in itself. He was still upright, and he wasn't throwing as hard of punches as he should have been at the end of that fight. But like I said, he's 58 years old. It probably was more of a publicity thing to get Mike Tyson a bag and then get Jake Paul some cred. But to me, they both lost this fight. So because
it's like lose.
It was a lose because Jake Paul, the fact that you couldn't beat a 60-year-old man, it was just like it was an exhibition. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It was not good. They both lost in my eyes.
Everybody lost.
And then we as the fans of boxing lost heavily the other night. I'm glad we didn't have to get a refund from like pay-per-view or something to that effect. But I'm not canceling I love my Netflix. I'm not canceling it. I just won't watch another live sport event. I'm not going to watch the football game because the football games are probably going to crash the server as well. So unless they've learned from it, they've learned from this mistake, realizing that sports is another animal than comedy. Or what's the other thing that they did live not too long ago? I can't remember. They've done a couple of different things, mostly comedy specials that went live over Netflix Air. And I'm just hoping that they realize that sports is another animal, man. Sports stuff gets, especially boxing. Boxing is a worldwide sport. You're going to get a lot of eyeballs watching that fight, not just in the U.S., but everywhere. All over the world. Like
worldwide.
Boxing is a worldwide sport. So I'm just shocked that they didn't realize that. Like if they should, it'd be like them showing a Premier League game on Netflix. Like you would need to make sure that you had the capacity to hold that many people on your servers. You would have to. And I'm saying that as a person who doesn't believe in soccer being the world sport. I'm saying that it's still the world outside of the US still watches the entire sport. So you would have to be prepared for that. And I don't think they were prepared. They just need to get prepared the next time, because when it comes to football season, there's going to be just as many eyeballs, especially since they have been doing international play, and we'll get into that here in just a second. But first, I want to get into Ryan's reacts. If you got that queued up for me, Vinny. Sorry.
I keep talking. Give me a minute.
But we are going to get to Mr. Ryan. I kind of previewed his video. He's wearing a Green Bay jersey. I'm not sure if Green Bay pulled it out today. It looks like my Broncos are winning 7-3. I'm not sure who caught the touchdown.
I don't see the attachment.
Oh no, that doesn't work. So all right, so we'll go on. We'll move on. Let me see if I can resend it, Vinny. While Larry talks about the NFL aiming for 8 international games. So go ahead and talk about that, Larry.
Yeah, why did they put losing teams?
I have no idea.
I mean, why would you watch the game if they go international and you send a team that's like, what? They send out a team that was 2-5 and a team that was 3-4?
I don't know.
3-5?
I personally think that, the whole, sending NFL teams to Europe and stuff to play,
I don't get it.
Money, guys, money.
Yeah,
I mean,
they've been trying to create this
but if you're not
market
gonna
over
show
there for years.
But now, if you're going to put the game and how you can watch it to pay for it, why not put those on a national stage where we can watch it too? It's sort of weird where you couldn't even watch that game.
But it's like a win-lose, especially like the home country that's hosting these teams, because even as much as I love the Brazilian game this year with the Packers and the Eagles, I mean, as far as like viewership, like in Brazil, the people there, they didn't like that. I mean, we liked it, but
it'd be like Spirit Airlines riding into Haiti.
That's wrong. I don't even think they're in business anymore. But I just don't feel that it's not going to be a money grab.
Didn't they fill what's that stadium over there? That tennis stadium for the last game.
Oh, you talking about in Germany?
Wimbledon? Or no, was it in Germany?
It was in Germany. It was in
Wembley Stadium.
Wembley. I want to say Wembley. They did play a game in Wembley this year.
Was that in Britain though? That was
Well, that is in Britain, but what I'm saying is that entire stadium is huge. Like there's at least like, what is it, like over 100K
It's the
to
largest.
fill that, and they filled that with 2 NFL teams, and I think one of those was the Jaguars, who suck. So,
yeah. But you can tell they. Believe me, if they knew football, they would have. I mean.
All right, Vinny, you should see that here soon, my guy.
All right.
I don't know what I did wrong when I sent it the first time, but let's see if I did it right this time.
Capacity 90,000.
Well, he does do a lot of talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
He does do a lot of talking. Well, I for one am not against having the international games. I honestly think that they should have teams over there. I know they started a league years ago. They did start a league like in like a European league, and they had about 5 teams, 6 teams, or something like that.
Yeah, it didn't work.
And it didn't work.
It didn't
But
work.
if they were to create, let's say, just 2 teams, 2 international teams, one in Germany and one in England, and then those teams, but also had to play games here. So they would only get 8 games in Europe, and then they would have to play their other 8 games here, obviously. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Like, honestly, just 2 teams, 2 expansion teams. You don't even have to give it both to Europe. Let's do a Canada team, right? You do 1 in Europe, 1 in Canada.
You actually thought that through.
Well,
That makes sense.
I mean,
They'll travel to Europe for 8 games, and they'll stay home, and then they'll travel. The teams will go to America for 8 games.
right.
And they'll stay in America during that time.
Right. There might be 2 or 3 games, a 2 or 3 game stint where they have to play away in America, and then they have 2 or 3 weeks where they have to play, in Europe or Canada or wherever. I wouldn't be opposed to that, honestly, as opposed to sending 2 American teams over the pond to play a game. What cracks me up about those games is that you see all of these fans, and it's great. It's great that the sport is growing internationally, but it's like you see all of these fans at these games, and they're not even wearing the jerseys of the teams that are playing. Like, there's no real home game for either team. So that's where I say, if you create a team over there, at least 1-2 teams, that's where the incentive, that's how you really grow the sport over in Europe, in my humble opinion. I'm not an expert, and I've never built an expansion team, but that's how I would do it if I was in that situation or had the money or the backing, or if I had the authority. Give me a thumbs up there, Vinny, when we're ready to go. All right, so we'll put a pin in that, and we'll go ahead and run with Ryan's Reacts. Hit him with it.
Happy Sunday, Sports Fiends, and welcome back to Ryan's Reacts, like we never left. Vinny, you know what to do with that soundboard. Let's do it. All right, in college football, the BYU lost to Kansas this week, and a road game coming up against 8-2 Arizona State, looming for the Cougars. The Buffs now have a legitimate chance of being the outright Big 12 regular season champions. Whatever your thoughts are on Prime, there's no denying at this point what an undisputed triumph this hire was for the University of Colorado, even if Prime does end up following Shedeur to the NFL after the draft this year, which it would have to be the right situation, I would gather. I may be naive, but I'm really hoping that isn't the case. But either way, just a resounding success what he has done to this program. They need to run the football better to make noise in the playoffs. But just the fact that we're having that conversation is a revelation. Brian Kelly and his wide receivers in LSU on the sideline this week. That's what it looks like when a talented team doesn't live up to expectations. They start pointing fingers at each other instead of coming together over it. It's disappointing to see. Will this win save Billy Napier's job for the Florida Gators? for at least one more offseason. I would hope, or I would imagine that Florida fans are hoping it doesn't, but they've been very patient with him over there, so it just might do that. Another reason to love the expanding college football playoff is now we get to watch teams like what could potentially be an 11-1 Boise State Broncos, with their one loss coming on the last play of a Week 2 game against the University of Oregon. Get the chance to go out on their shield as opposed to having their season end, having their championship contention ended by pundits and analysts instead of on the field. Even as a Colorado fan, Ashton Jeanty could hit 2,000 yards, 30 touchdowns with a game to spare this year. You got to give that man the Heisman already. In the NBA, when you look at the 14-0 Cleveland Cavaliers, tell me what you see that doesn't look sustainable outside of the record itself for the rest of this season. The East is a mess after them in Boston, but if you gentlemen could please remind our listeners, which of the three of us had all four of the teams in the top four that are currently in the top four in the East? That would be fantastic. Thank you. And then this seat is hotter between Doc Rivers and Nick Nurse. Possibly Doc, but because the Bucks have been a little bit healthier. But do we see some major shakeups in the NBA if either of these teams are still not within shouting distance of 500 around the trade deadline? Just really, really dreadful starts for both of those groups. And then I encourage you to tune in for what could be the last meaningful basketball in a Warriors uniform for Steph Curry in his career. Here's hoping they can stay out in front of what is an absolutely loaded West, yet again, unsurprisingly. In the world of fighting sports, I think watching Stipe was more disappointing than watching Iron Mike this weekend, because at least with Stipe, there was this tiny little sliver of hope that he could turn back the clock for a night. He wasn't completely washed, but that was how dominant Bones needed to look to not be a big underdog against Aspinall, or even a heavyweight Pereira for that matter. I can't wait to see Bones back in the ring, though. He is still absolutely mesmerizing to watch, even at 37. There's never going to be a happy ending in Paul Tyson, but if we can find the silver lining, it was the co-main event, huge night for women's sports. Taylor and Serrano with another absolute war, another absolute classic. Questionable scorecards from the judges, as many will say. But that being said, you're happy to see that, of all things, become the most watched women's sporting event of all time. It was worth every second of watching, just absolutely hype. Here's hoping that these 5 minutes or so were at least a fraction as entertaining as round 5 of Chandler and Oliveira yesterday. Speaking of wars, happy Sunday, Sports Fiends. Go Packers.
He had to throw that go Packers in there at the end. I don't disagree with most of what Mr. Ryan said, but hey, just a little bit of pushback. Yes, you did choose the top four, sir, but you had the Cavs at 4 in the East, not as number 1. You had Boston as number 1, Knicks as number 2, Orlando as number 3, Cavs as number 4. Now, granted, both Larry and I had the Cavs at number 5. I was very high on the Cavs, thinking that they were going to do pretty good. It's just that the East I thought was a little bit better with Boston, the Knicks, and Philadelphia, and then the Knicks traded away DiVincenzo what's that boy's name? DiVincenzo. Can't think of his name. God help me. But they traded away two of their big stars, and they've kind of struggled as of late. Not to mention,
I'm just surprised at the Pacers, man.
Yeah,
the Pacers. I had them, I think, 3rd, but
no, you had them after the Cavs. You had them as in the 6. Yeah, so you still might be dead on. Depending on if they come on later on in this season. I did like his take on what's his name as well on Prime, because the big talk right now is, will Prime follow Shedeur? I don't think he's going to. I do think that Shedeur's been coached by his dad since Pee Wee League football. He's only going to be able to prove it and show that he actually is a great quarterback once he steps out of the shadow and tutelage of his father. And I'm not saying that Coach Prime hasn't done a good job, or that Coach Prime wouldn't be a good coach in the NFL. That's like, clearly he took a team that's from the Division II HBCU, brought them to a Division I team, and then they're actually winning. They do have a legitimate shot at winning the Big 12.
I understand.
BYU's got a lot to say about it, but
right. But I understand what you're saying, though. But will he do that, Shedeur? Because I understand. He been with his dad, throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do he have that, mentality like, I need to step out on my own, And hopefully that's the case, but
that's the only way that he's going to get it. It's kind of like LeBron's son.
Right.
You're never going to step out of the shadow until you actually step out of the shadow.
Right.
And he's going to have to, I don't know any team in the NFL, any owner, with the exception of the Cowboys. The Cowboys are the only ones that are going to have a quarterback and a head coaching vacancy. Because even the Raiders might lose their head coach, but they do have a quarterback vacancy.
He don't. Yeah.
But I don't think the Raiders owner would go for that. He's not going to go for, I don't know. It remains to be seen. But the fact of the matter is that it would have to be the perfect situation, and there's not too many perfect. The Dallas Cowboys are the only perfect situation where you definitively know they are going to have a quarterback spot open next year, and they're going to have a coaching spot open next year.
Knowing Mark Davis, he's not going to.
No, because Prime's going to want that dough, and Shedeur, you can control that because there's a cap. There's a certain amount that you can't go over, even if he's your first round overall, right? But the coach, there is no cap on that, and Prime's gonna want that dough. And here's the thing about Shedeur though, is if he does go to let's say the Raiders don't have I'm not saying this to like take a dig at the Raiders, like I'm really not. I think this is just facts. They do not have good offensive weapons right now, period. They have one good wide receiver, and no running backs really. They have their tight end, right? They have their brand new tight end.
Well, we have our tight end Brock Bowers, but
right.
I personally, I'm a Raiders fan. I'm just gonna say I personally, I'm not gonna look at my team through these rose-colored glasses. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of deficiencies on the offensive end and the defensive end. You know what I'm saying? And that's not very attractive to
to a kid like Shedeur.
It's not.
He's not going to want to step. But that's the thing about the NFL though is that he's not going to get a choice. He's going to go to a sorry team. That's what happens when you're the first round overall draft pick. You go to one of the worst teams in the league. That is the fact. So he's going to go to either the Raiders, the Jaguars, well, maybe not the Jaguars, but the Panthers. Unless the Jaguars do decide to move on from homeboy.
Well, the thing is, they got a quarterback already.
Yeah, but they could decide that he's not winning. He's not doing anything to constitute them keeping him. Right. I would not be surprised if my guy wasn't on the trading block or cut at some point in time.
Yeah.
But he's just not Shedeur going number one overall. He's going to go to one of the worst teams in the league, and he's just going to have to live with that. I do not think that Prime will go with him, though, to Ryan's point. I do not think Prime will go with him. I think Prime will stay at CU at least for another year or two.
Okay. You think he might go to even a bigger, or go to the NFL, or go to a bigger?
Because I think it's smarter that he allows Shedeur to go into and this is just my humble opinion. I think it would be smarter for him to allow Shedeur to go into the league, allow him to take his lumps, unlike LeBron is doing with his son. I think it would be wiser for him to allow him to go to the league, play for a couple of years, and then if the timing is right, you step into a coaching position that, if let's say it is the Raiders and the Raiders decide to keep their coach right now and they do draft Shedeur, right? 2 years from now, if they're not winning, that coaching position is going to be open, right?
Right.
So I could see him stepping into that role at that moment. Like, okay, let me step in and save my son's career, or 2 or 3 years down the line, Shador's getting released or traded from his team, not because of the fact that he's not playing very well, just because they can't afford to keep him, right? Because I think he's going to be a great quarterback in the league. But, you know, because of the fact that he's going to be a great quarterback in the league, 2 or 3 years into his rookie contract, they are going to have to sign him to an extension. If they're not able to put pieces around him, young pieces around him during that time, which the Raiders are notorious for doing, not doing, they're going to have to let him go. He's going to have to either walk or they're going to have to trade him to get some sort of value for him. And it would be just smarter for Prime to wait for that transaction to happen, and then try to see if he can step in and be a coach. I
don't know. I just feel our management is just not really committed to, you know, player development. You know, I mean, it's just sickening. You know, it's just sad year after year. You know what I'm saying? We making all these, you know, aesthetics. We making all these outside changes where we really need to be making changes within. You know, we need a real general manager that's going to get in there and just, you know, just run stuff. Just like, you know, Oklahoma City. I know you go to basketball, but I respect, you know, I respect the hell out of them. You know, you just let these guys do them. You know, like, you know, it's just disheartening. You know, just let the man run the team. Don't be over his shoulders all the time.
That's called micromanaging.
Maybe you should.
Jerry Jones, that's the reason why the Cowboys are a failing entity right now, or a failing franchise right now, is because their owner wants to be owner. He wants to be GM. He wants to be coach. Hell, if you would let Jerry Jones suit up, he wants to play quarterback. And he definitely wants his glory hole, as he would say. Jerry Jones, I don't think you understand what glory hole actually is. So I think you need to look that up, brother. The internet is your friend. Definitely look up what glory hole means, because you keep saying it, but I don't think you know what it means. So
I think you should fight Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome. I would watch that fight. Jerry Jones versus Mike Tyson. I'd watch that fight.
Yeah.
Or let's say Jerry Jones versus Trump. I'd watch that fight too.
Oh man,
I'd pay pay-per-view for that fight. Actually, I'd pay good pay-per-view money to watch that fight. But
I would. I don't know what y'all talking about.
I would.
I would plug that to Joe Rogan. We got that.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I'd like to see Mike Tyson fight Joe Rogan. They're about the same age, right?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's a fighter. Like he's a fighter. He's not a boxer. He's a fighter though. Maybe even like a UFC match versus Tyson versus Tyson versus Trump. Vinny's funny. That would be some WWE stuff, man. That would be. Can you even say that anymore? Is it WWE or WWF? What do they call it now?
WWE.
Okay, I just didn't want to get sued.
Well, no, WWF is not alone.
Yeah. It used to be the WWF, right? Yeah.
Hey, brother.
Listen to me, brother.
Vote for Trump, brother.
Tyson and Hulk Hogan.
I swear, I'll beat Trump's ass. I swear, I'll beat him.
I know.
The Hulk Hogan Tyson would be good.
Hulk Hogan, Tyson, they're about the same age.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, but I think Hogan would probably get concussed because Hogan doesn't really fight for real. He was fake fighting. So, not that he's not a huge man. Not that if he punches you, it would not hurt. Because it would hurt. Exactly. He is a large man. So
you're saying a lot of stuff was choreographed?
What, in WWE?
WWF.
Yeah, it was all choreographed. Are you kidding me?
I know. I'm just being a butt.
I mean, it doesn't make it any less entertaining, but it was all choreographed and predetermined, and I think we all know that. It still is.
Right.
Not a big deal to me because I don't really watch it anymore, but when I was a kid, my favorite dude was the Junkyard Dog. That was my guy.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, man, that was my guy. Him and the Ultimate Warrior.
Those were the Sheik.
The Sheik was good. The camel clutch was dope. I like the camel clutch. We're showing our age now, though. We really showing our age now because most kids wouldn't know who any of those guys are.
What they talking about?
The Sheik was pretty dope.
Iron Sheik.
Yeah, he was pretty dope. Papa Shango. Remember Papa Shango? You know, I'm a big Undertaker fan too, you know, but nobody could say that those guys aren't athletes. They're athletes through and through because the stuff that they do, you have to be very athletic in order to accomplish, whether it's choreographed or not. The ballet's choreographed. A lot of, if you think about it, even football, basketball, all of these things are choreographed. When you run plays, that's a choreographed play. Mm-hmm. So if you think about it, everything's choreographed. Yeah. But the only difference between the two is that in the WWE, most of it is predetermined. So that's the major difference. But I wouldn't take away any of the athletic, you know, prowess that most of those guys have. Like Eddie Guerrero back in the day, dude. Yeah. That dude he was just a masterpiece of wrestling prowess. Like Bret the Hitman Hart was pretty dope. I don't want to go. Of them, yeah. I don't want to go too deep into WWE, but I do respect what they do. What they do is very, very hard, and I do think that it is a sport. Just because it's predetermined. Well, I guess it takes it away from being a sport since it is predetermined. But
I thought you was gonna put that in there with NASCAR.
I would put it in the realm of NASCAR. Like, it's entertaining, it's entertainment, and they're athletes.
What about ping pong?
Nah, bro, come on, man.
Hey, man.
What are we doing here?
Bro, I'm a ping pong expert, bro. I'm serious, bro.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. I'm sorry. Man. I'm at a loss for words, this guy. I will go to the text line though, and Vinny, I don't know what's going on with the autofocus with the camera. I mean, we're almost done here, but I'm going to go to the text line off of the YouTube channel. We've got a Deborah Stewart that said, I would actually like to see the players actually play the game. I think that has to do with when we were talking about the NBA All-Star game.
Oh, okay.
And I agree, Deborah. I think that the majority of the NBA fans would just like to see them go back to actually playing the game. Like when we watched MJ and them play against the West,
right?
Those games, they played those games for bragging rights, and
it was a mentality.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And you can see like when Jordan used to go at it with Magic and the glove and Kemp and the West and the East, because it was really
prideful. It was prideful. They were not friends like they are now.
These kids don't hate each other. They do not have a real disdain for each other.
Maybe that's what I like the brotherly love, and I like the camaraderie that the NBA players have. But that has to go away when you step out onto the court.
The thing is, they need to just hang around. Remember I was telling you, we was talking earlier in the year about veterans. Mm-hmm. It's not that many of them anymore on these benches and stuff.
Yep.
And that has a lot to do, because you need to instill to these guys, you come in the hut, we ain't talking to them. We ain't talking to them right now. No, that's how the old bench guys, they used to come out, and they know they friends and say, hey, we ain't doing it today.
We ain't friends today.
We ain't doing it. You
just like when it's Raiders week, when it's I tell this man every time, he'll come up like, "What's up, man? Hey, how's it? Nah, bruh, we ain't cool this week. It's Raiders week. It's Raiders v Broncos. We are not friends this week until the game is over."
The first couple of times I got mad, I was like, "Bro, we ain't even playing. They playing." He's like, "No,
nah, bruh,
nope."
And that's the mentality they should have in the NBA.
And we fans.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we ain't cool this week. Like my homie Becca at work, she's a KC fan. She was trying to be like, hey, man, how's it going? Nah, F yo, how's it going? F yo team, we are not friends this week.
Yep, I heard him. He said, F your kingdom.
We are not friends this week.
FL
We can
Kingdom.
talk after the game. When the game is over, we can talk. And speaking of game being over, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe our channel on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Sportz Phenz. We're on Facebook, soon to have IG and all of the above. Probably will not be on X, but we will have most of our social media locked down. Just don't forget to follow us. Thank you for tuning in again. On behalf of our staff and our staff, on behalf of Vinny, don't forget to come by, to Sohai Cafe, 4300 West Alameda. Get you some barbecue. Tell them the Sportz Phenz sent you. We will see you next week, Sunday. Peace.